He trained for a millennium only to be kicked into the moon by a genetic king. Huge spoiler warning before we dive into the chaotic world of this Chinese manhua. Imagine spending 1,000 years alone in the apocalypse, preparation your undead body until you are the most powerful creature on the planet. Our main lead did exactly that, evolving from a mindless zombie into a sophisticated powerhouse with god-tier strength. Now, he is finally re-entering human society, but the world he left behind is completely gone. Instead of simple survival, he finds a high-tech civilization filled with genetic mutations, secret experiments, and warriors using mana to hunt his kind. He is just trying to find his place and maybe some peace, but every faction wants a piece of the ultimate zombie. Today we are continuing his journey as he realizes that the modern world has created monsters that might actually be able to keep up with him. We are covering chapters 20 through 29 in order, so buckle up for some serious power scaling. Chapter 20 kicks off with a heavy focus on the biological nightmare underlying this new era. We see visuals of blood cells and DNA strands, hinting that the zombie virus is now being analyzed as a scientific resource rather than just a plague to be cured. The action quickly shifts to a city street where a pink-haired schoolgirl finds herself in a desperate standoff. She is clearly not a normal student, as she activates strange red tentacle-like powers to fend off a black, red-eyed zombie attacker. The two trade massive blows that trigger explosions and tear up the asphalt, creating a scene of urban devastation. While they fight, hooded observers with green DNA-like visuals watch the data from the shadows, treating the life-or-death struggle as a mere field test for their latest research. Despite the girl's heavy strikes and the debris flying everywhere, the monster remains hungry and aggressive. By the end, the monster is still coming at her, but the girl stands her ground, ready to continue the battle. Chapter 21 escalates the city brawl as the muscular gray zombie faces off against the pink-haired girl, who now reveals her primary weapon is a massive, oversized hammer. She attacks with total confidence, smashing the creature into the street with heavy, bone-crushing swings that leave craters in the concrete. While she dominates the physical exchange, a group of scientists led by a green-haired man in glasses watches from a secure vehicle. They are tracking the mana levels attached to the monsters, noting that the situation has developed much further than expected. Interestingly, a hooded figure in the group seems to recognize the red-eyed zombie, calling him a Jew and pleading for him to remember his past identity. This revelation suggests that many of these monsters were once humans with lives and friends, adding a tragic layer to the mindless violence. The creature named Aju is left shaken and confused, caught between his old name and his new monstrous instincts as the hammer-wielding girl continues her assault. Moving into Chapter 22, the red-eyed figure confronts a green-haired boy in the middle of a ruined urban zone. He demands to know what the boy is doing, but the conversation is cut short as the military arrives in force. Armed helicopters and specialized soldiers from a group known as Absolute or Private surround the area. A blue-haired woman directs the response, and they do not believe in half measures. A massive projectile is launched into the city, resulting in a golden energy strike that looks like a tactical nuke. This explosion levels entire city blocks in an attempt to vaporize the zombie threat once and for all. However, amid the smoke and glowing rubble, the red-eyed figure appears to survive, proving that standard military hardware is no longer enough to stop these evolved beings. High above, a dark-coated man observes the devastation, noting that the situation is becoming far too public and troublesome for the shadows they usually operate in. Chapter 23 takes us away from the street level and deep into a high-tech industrial complex. A white-haired fighter and a black-haired woman with a red headband lead their group toward a secured facility guarded by metal shutters and advanced architecture. They are clearly on a mission, but they are quickly intercepted by masked humanoid enemies and a red-haired muscular powerhouse. The battle inside the facility is a chaotic mess of explosions and taunts as both sides test each other's limits. Just as the fighting reaches a peak, a cloaked, swordsman-like figure enters the fray with overwhelming speed. This new attacker moves so fast he is almost invisible, cutting through the battlefield and shocking both the heroes and the masked enemies. He represents a tier of power that neither side was prepared for, proving that there are hidden players in this world who can bypass even the most advanced security systems with ease. The group realizes their simple mission has just turned into a survival trial against a ghost. In Chapter 24, we see President Lanchi, the blue-haired leader, show off her true capabilities. As escaping enemies release a massive horde of zombies to serve as a distraction, she steps forward and decimates the entire wave with a flurry of energy kicks and slashes, moving with a grace that hides her terrifying strength. While she clears the path, two masked men are shown searching for a specific high-value target named Varmint, fearing the wrath of a mysterious figure they call the King. Meanwhile, in a nearby control room, a zombie child with a pacifier taunts a warrior in white armor. The warrior moves to strike the kid, but it is a massive trap. The child undergoes a terrifying transformation, shedding its small frame to reveal a tall, long-haired female form that radiates an aura of pure malice. This reveal confirms that in this world, appearance is the last thing you should trust. The warrior is left facing a nightmare he is completely unprepared to handle as the facility begins to fall into chaos. Chapter 25 features a high-speed chase across the city skyline. The dark-haired woman from the previous chapter engages Mr. Zombie in a high-stakes duel across the rooftops. She uses whip-like bladed attacks that slash through the air with lethal precision, while Mr. Zombie is forced to use all his millennially trained reflexes to dodge and block. The fight is so intense that an explosion near a skyscraper draws the attention of every civilian and soldier in the streets below. After an intense exchange that spills across several buildings, the fight reaches a brief pause. Below them, President Lanchi and her allies discuss the urgent need for cooperation to stop the escalating chaos, realizing that the old power structures are failing. At the same time, a hooded masked figure and a red-haired girl begin investigating the street-level wreckage left in the wake of the duel. They are looking for clues about the source of these mutations, unaware that the real powerhouses are still trading blows right above their heads. Chapter 26 brings a massive group battle to a snowy urban battlefield. A powerful gray zombie with horns stands his ground against an onslaught from a purple-haired girl, a blue-haired man, and a long-haired woman. Each of them uses their unique mana trails to strike at the creature, but he seems nearly invulnerable to their combined efforts. An armored warrior joins the fight, entering a powered-up state that looks more like a high-tech robot than a man, launching a series of heavy strikes. However, even this dramatic transformation fails to bring the horned zombie down for good. The creature keeps rising from the debris, laughing at the difference in their power levels and insisting he hasn't lost yet. By the end of the encounter, the armored warrior is visibly damaged and struggling to stay upright, while the horned zombie faces him again with a terrifying grin. The gap between humanity's tech and the new Undead evolution is becoming painfully clear as the battle rages on. In Chapter 27, the hooded man with the green mask leads his companions through a ruined sector, only to be ambushed by a black and red mutant zombie. This thing is a pure engine of destruction, moving with enough speed to force even the veterans to scramble for their lives. Soldiers and civilians in the area fall into a total panic as the mutant crashes through buildings, turning the street into a zone of rubble and shock lines. The mutant attacks with overwhelming strength, but the hooded man manages to knock the beast down through sheer technical skill. Just as a swarm of lesser zombies surrounds them, the man remains completely calm and unbothered. He stares down the entire horde, openly challenging the very concept of a zombie king. His presence is so intimidating that it creates a momentary stalemate, suggesting he might have a deeper connection to the undead hierarchy than he lets on. He is no longer just a survivor, he is a challenger to the throne. Chapter 28 shows the conflict expanding from a private duel into a full-scale public disaster. A horned, skull-masked fighter appears, casually noting that he is far too full to keep fighting properly, implying he has been absorbing massive amounts of energy or biomass from the city. Despite his claims of being stuffed, he still moves at a terrifying speed, clashing with the red-haired girl and the green-haired boy. He sends his enemies flying across the city and toward the sea with single strikes. The sheer force of the battle draws in massive airships and military vessels, showing that the authorities can no longer hide the truth from the public. The city plaza is completely ruined, and the masked fighter seems bored with the resistance he's faced so far. As a large military force arrives to lock down the zone, the stakes shift from a supernatural investigation into a full-blown war between humanity and the rising undead nobility who treat the world like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Finally, in Chapter 29, the battle moves beyond the limits of the city and even the planet. Mr. Zombie confronts an opponent radiating something known as the King's Aura. Allies try to warn him about a once-in-a-century genius named Jamie who is likely the architect behind these genetic monsters, but the pursuit has already become personal. The two combatants engage in a high-speed chase that leaves the carrier deck behind, moving through the sky with such velocity that they break the upper atmosphere. We see the curvature of the Earth as they enter the cold blackness of space. In a shocking display of power, the opponent strikes Mr. Zombie with enough force to send him hurtling through the void. The chapter ends with a massive impact on the lunar surface, creating a crater visible from the ship below. Our lead has just been punched all the way to the moon, and the look on his face suggests that he is finally starting to take this world seriously. The power scaling has officially gone galactic. This series is doing something incredible with the classic zombie trope. By jumping 1,000 years into the future, it has created a world where the undead are not just monsters, but a rival species with their own nobility and science. Seeing Mr. Zombie get punched to the moon is a massive escalation that shifts the power scale from street-level action to planetary stakes. It highlights that the genetic experiments conducted by humans, specifically by this Jamie character, have created monsters that even a millennium-trained zombie struggles to handle. This cliffhanger leaves us questioning how our lead can possibly survive in the vacuum of space and what humanity's next move will be now that their secret biological weapons are literally impacting the moon. The dynamic between the old-world zombie and the new-world mutants is the heart of the drama moving forward. He is strong, but he is realizing that science might have caught up to his 1,000 years of preparation. If you want to see if he makes it back from the moon or if he is stuck there forever, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We will be covering the next chapters the moment they drop. See you in the next recap.